Hello, everybody. And this is my new orange Rili shrimp tank. One of my new lines I got late this fall. I think I've had these guys since about Thanksgiving, early December. So that's what, about 3.5 months or so. That's what we're coming up on. So when I wanted to get new shrimp, and I set up these tanks for these new shrimp lines, these were the ones I really wanted to get, and the little red riding hoods. Now, finding these guys homebred when I was ready for a tank was pretty hard to do, so I got these as imports. So I've had to be extra careful of them with them, and I think a few might have had a few spots of Scooterella. So I did end up, I gave them a thing of Prozzy Pro, a round of Prozzy Pro, and that didn't do much. And then I ended up just giving them a round of fenbendazole probably a month or two ago, and that cleared them all up. And I've given them over 3 months, and so I feel like I'm safe to put my calls into my Skittles tank. So I think we have perfectly good, healthy shrimp now at this point, after giving them a few rounds of treatments. And so what we're going to do here is, I don't know why the moss done this in this tank. No, most of these tanks have little bits of algae, most of these new tanks. But this one, I don't think has a speck of algae in it. Now it has all this diatom on the sides because this one doesn't have any plecos in it yet, because I was waiting to make sure they were going to be 100% safe before I added anything else in here. Now, you remember when I got these, they all look pretty good, and there's tons and tons of brand new little babies, like they probably dropped their eggs in transit. And I'll show you. Take a look at what we start out with. So you can see here, we started with a really nice group right here. Nice, beautiful shrimp. The thing I was looking for, though, was how would all those little babies grow up? And look at them all right here when I finally release. Look at all those little babies. Well, seems like they all ended up growing up pretty good. By this point, all those little babies have grown up and started having babies of their own. And for the most part, they've all grown up to be good. I think I've seen one that's kind of red, and a couple males with not the best markings. We'll be on the hunt for those. We're going to pull this moss out and bait them all out right here and see just how good a shrimp we got now that they've bred out a little bit. I got a bucket of moss sitting over here. I'm going to put the moss in. Let's see how many shrimp come out of this moss. Oh yeah, look at all the one back there by the pump. That's showing up on camera. I think there's quite a bit in here. Let's see how many. Now I did have a few bit of the OG ones die off. I guess that's to be expected with shrimp that have been shipped across the globe. And I noticed, like, the OG ones, a lot of times when they get buried, they seem to drop like most of their eggs. Now, not all of them, not all the time, but a lot of them seem to be dropping their eggs. But I haven't noticed that as much with the new ones. Oh, I see a shrimp in the bucket already. So we want to be pretty picky here. And be real careful because there are lots and lots and lots of teeny tiny babies in here. That's just where this colony is at. Before they breed out too much, now that I feel safe putting them in my other tanks, and my Skittles tank, yeah, this moss has been absolutely perfect too. These guys are doing fabulous. You see all those babies down there. Alright, let's speed things up here and get this finished. And so now you can see what I'm saying. And with these real little realies I've discovered, you gotta let them get so big to tell. Because a lot of them, when they're real little, we're like, that looks all orange. But then they all end up to be really. I haven't seen one that's like fully orange. So for a really line, these are really, really good. So it looks like one of the OG ones that ends up dropping most of your eggs. Now, obviously, there's plenty of eggs being held all the way, as you can see. But something I've noticed with these guys, I mean, it's thick with little guys all the way to the back here. That one might end up being mostly orange, but that's why we're doing what we're doing. First round of picking up the bad ones with these guys. Let's throw an algae wafer in and see just how many shrimp we're dealing with in here. Well, alright. I think I've got all I could really get because I like to let these guys get older. And I tell you what, there really isn't that many of the OGs left. There really isn't. There might only be a few left of the OG ones. I think most of these are the babies that grew up and their babies. So I wouldn't have got all those free babies. I might not be as happy as I am now. Well, I think I would have had, I think they still would have kept going, but wouldn't have been as good as it is now. And it seems like the smaller shrimp don't all come running when you put food out. So it's not as impressive as it normally is because we have tons and tons of little babies. But I think everything looks pretty good. So what I want to do now is I'm going to put some moss back in the tank. And then I'm going to find some long-fin green dragon babies to put in here. And we'll see how fast, how big of a dent they can make in this diatom algae. Let's take a quick look at the ones we pulled out here. You can see just not enough color or patches, bad patches of color or weird color. I mean, really, nothing too outrageous. There's one of the red ones I seen, or reddish. So, not too many to worry about, but the big test will be, like I said, here in a month or two when all these grow up. Then we'll probably really have to start pulling some more out. But I think I'm pretty happy with this line. Let's add the moss and plecos in. Alright, let's get this moss back in. I'm just going to tuck it, a little bit of it into the substrate, hold it in place so it's not floating all over the tank. Keep things tidy. All right. I find that if you take these baby plecos out of the big tank away from the adults, they usually have a better chance of living. So we've got 4 long fin green dragon babies. And we're going to see just how fast this goes. I'll let you know how many hours real time this covered. I'm going to do a time lapse. See, it looks like that side has more algae on it. Should I do like something like this where you can see both sides? I'll see what I can do, but I'll let you all know just how long this time lapse went. Might go until I go to bed at night or until my battery dies. Let's go ahead and let these long fin green dragons, they're gonna be bros with the orange Rilis. There we go. These guys are really little. I'd like to find them a little bit bigger, but those are the only ones I could find right now. So let's see if these 4 little oh, there's still one in there. There you go, man. All right. Let's see how big of a dent these guys can make. Till I go to bed or the camera dies on our diatom algae, and you guys will see why I like putting algae. I like putting bristlenose plecos in my shrimp tanks. Now, some people will be saying, oh, that's good for the shrimp. Look at all the shrimp on there. But in reality, when I did all this, yeah, there's shrimp on the algae. Look how much algae's on this side. There's not very many shrimp. But when I pulled out all that moss, there sure as heck was tons and tons of shrimp in the moss. So I think I like having clean sides, especially the front. I had to scrape the front yesterday, and I was like, oh, God, this one's getting bad. It's time for plecos. All right, everyone. Hope you enjoyed the update on the orange Rilis and adding plecos. Now we have baby plecos in all 4 of these new tanks. Thank you guys for watching. Bye.